the killer innovations slide barrel and magwell for the Sig P320. You just don't know how good looking this thing is until you actually see one in person. All right, so before we get started, a huge thank you to my Patreon, Josh. He sent this into the channel not to keep, but for me to be able to test out and make a video on, and I am extremely glad that he did. Because not only is this thing one of the slickest looking slides out there, I mean, take another good solid look at that thing, but it just ran and ran. Sometimes when you get these aftermarket slides, they can be a little tight, be a little gritty, and they require a break-in period of anywhere from like 200 to 500 rounds. This thing just performed. So let's go ahead and get right into this thing and talk about the barrel, talk about the slide, talk about the magwell, because there's definitely something you need to know when it comes if you just want to get the magwell. If this is your guys' first time here, make sure you get subbed up, get belled up, turn the notifications down there to all on. If you like what's going on here, you go ahead and give that video a like. If you're interested in anything that you see here, I'll leave a link down below. You can follow that. It goes to my webpage, tacticalconsiderations.com, where you can check pretty much everything out that I have ever done. We're gonna go ahead and get into this P320 slide right now. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get into the killer innovations setup here. The slide, the magwell, and the barrel that one of my Patreons sent into me. Absolutely awesome that he sent this in for me to get a good test with, because the thing is absolutely slick looking for sure. Let's go ahead and break this thing down, and we're gonna talk about this piece by piece, starting with the barrel right here. So this barrel is 416R stainless steel. It's a 1 in 10 twist rate, and it's just got an insane amount of machine work in it. So you will get a thread protector, obviously. So right there, it'll go on either direction, and then you do get the O-ring with the barrel right there, so it stays on there. So talking about the business end first right here, you'll see all the flute work in there and how the flute work is staggered. So it's a depression, and then the depression goes out onto the sides, and then you have a raised area here, and that staggers every other one. So you can see the amount of machine work in here. It's a lot of machine work in here. You're gonna have their logo across the side right there, or excuse me, not their logo, their name across the side, and their logo across the top. And then kind of that port through the barrel right there, you can see there's like a hole through it. That's kind of their throw on the design. Definitely a slick looking setup. It's gonna do everything a barrel needs to do for you. Talk about the magwell, we will save that slide here for just a minute. Very clean magwell. They've done a great job on all of the edges in there. No hard edges to get the magazine caught on, because the whole reason we want that is so we can funnel the mags in quicker should we be a little bit off. I didn't do a ton of magazine exchanges because a viewer sent this and I didn't want to beat it up too bad, but it's a nice slick design. Gives just enough for the pinky to get onto right there, but is not going to be so big that it's going to print a lot should you be wearing this in a concealed carry fashion. Good stuff. One thing you need to pay attention to, this is not going to work with the factory 17 or 15 round base plates on your mags. You either have to have the big extendos like that, or you're going to have the killer innovations base plates, because if not, they're going to hit the side. So I know, little bit of a buzzkill there because it's a little bit more money. So talking about the slide here, now I've seen pictures of this, but the pictures do not do these things justice until you actually get to see one in person. So coming from the back, you're gonna see those deep depressions right there that your fingers can get into when you're working the slide. Then of course, some pretty deep serrations there. Very, very well done and nice. And then that depression line kind of follows it all the way forward. On the rear, the opposite side is gonna be the same. Then you're gonna have the Killer Innovations name and their logo right there. And then when you move forward from that, you're gonna see a deep depression right there, a good window that's kind of got a stepped design right there. And then it's gonna kind of nose off two different directions right there. I know it's kind of tough to see, but you can just barely see it right there. Coming up across the top, that depression is gonna follow through, and then it's got a nice big port right there. And then of course, your dovetails for your sights. So absolutely a slick looking setup. Just give you a good look here at how this thing looks just sitting together when it's not on the frame, so you guys can get a good idea. Just an absolute work of art when it comes to a pistol slide for sure. My Sig fans out there, if you are looking at doing something wild and custom, look at that thing. Look at how those depressions and how those flutes show through the ports on that slide. Like I said, the pictures of this thing just did not do this thing justice. So let's go ahead and talk about the price on this stuff and everything. Oh, and if I forgot to mention, the slide here, 17.4 stainless steel, and it does come cut for an RMR and a Delta Point Pro. So right there in the back, you'll see it. I know it's kind of tough. There's actually a little shim for the RMR or the Holosun for that size, but it's threaded in there already without a conversion plate for Delta Point Pro and the RMR, if that is what you are carrying. And then the Magwell is 6061 aluminum. So good stuff there. So let's talk price, reliability, the break-in process and everything when it comes to the Killer Innovations. All right, so that thing just looks good and it ran just as good as it looked. Now, having experience with multiple different aftermarket slides or a slide that have just had millwork done on them or coating work, I generally run anything brand new or something that's big, custom like this with a little bit of extra lube. I'm not talking enough to get your engine wet on your car. I'm talking a couple of extra drops here and there just to make sure that it's gonna function out there, you're gonna have some fun. And if there is a break-in period, which there is on this slide of like 200 to 400 rounds, I think they said, that it's gonna run reliably throughout that period. I'm happy to say, didn't have any issues with this slide at all, running 124 grain and 115 basic range ammo. Now my Patreon did send this out to me. Again, huge thank you to him, but he had not had a chance to use it yet. I think he was waiting on a couple of other parts to come in or something. So I basically got to practice the ancient rite of prima nocta on his parts. If you don't know what that is, look it up. So it was cool enough of him to send this out to me. Didn't have any issues, absolutely ran like a champ out there. And like I said, probably one of the better looking slides you're gonna find out there. But anytime you get something that looks that good and functions as well as this did, it comes at a premium, right? So brass tacks, what are we looking at for this setup? They've got a couple of different versions. This one specifically was $454. I checked it today as of filming this video. The barrel, this version was $229 and the Magwell was $79. However, the Magwell, you will have an additional cost if you don't have the mags like this or some other version of a mag like that, because they will not work with those factory base plates. You've got to buy the Killer Innovations ones or have the big 21 rounders. So just get the big 21 rounders. So it is definitely not the cheapest stuff out there, but anytime you're really buying stuff for a Sig, it's gonna be a little bit more expensive than some of those more budget-friendly slides for a Glock. Plus, just take a look at all the work is in here. I dig it, it's very cool. Is it worth the money? That is completely up to you. It's always your decision on how much money you wanna spend for your build, what you wanna do with it, and how far you want to go with it. This is pretty crazy stuff. It's about as far as I would go with looks and everything, because it's still got a good clean color palette to it and everything like that. It's not overly crazy, but it's got a ton of intricate machine work on there. And it's just a flat out performer on the range with all the different types of ammo that I ran through it. So if you are building your custom fire control unit, or you just can't help yourself and you got to do something else to your Sig, check them out. Might be the way to go for you. And that is what I've got for you guys today. Make sure you get subbed up, get belled up, turn the notifications down there to all on. If you're interested in any of this stuff right here, I'll put it in the parts list link or the build list link down below, or you can check out tacticalconsiderations.com for all the links to everything I've ever done. All that stuff is a huge help to the channel. Again, massive thank you to all of my Patreons, especially Josh for sending this slide. Absolute treat to get to test this thing out and play with it and have a good time on the range with it. You guys get out there and have some fun. Remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Even if you get ready looking this good, then I'll see you guys on the next one.